Hello everyone and welcome to Be My Guest. Well, I'm so excited. Today on the program I have someone who you are going to be so excited to listen to. He is Professor Abiodun Alao, and he's going to share with us a little bit about how he got to become a professor. But first of all, we're going to start from the end and work our way to the front. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's so nice to have you with us. So just tell us what you studied.
It's a slightly long story, but I'll make it short. I did a bachelor's in history from the University of Ibadan. I did my national service, which is the mandatory service at the Ahmadu Bello University.
Wow.
I did a master's in international relations at the University of Ife. Well, now Obafemi Awolowo University, but it was University of Ife then.
Okay.
Then I did a PhD in war studies from King's College
Goodness,
London.
you've done a lot of studies there.
So it's just a mix of closely related disciplines.
My goodness, that is a lot to study in one in one person.
Oh, well.
And how long did this take you to get to the PhD level?
I think the bachelor's started from 1980 and the doctorate was in 1991. So everything took about 11 years. From the moment I entered the University of Ibadan up to the time I got the PhD, 11 years.
Wow. So just give us a little bit of what you were doing. Were you lecturing? Were you teaching?
Yes, I've always lectured.
Okay,
right. As I always say, I got to the university at the age of 19 and I've not spent a day outside it since. And I'm close to 54, 55 now. So yes, I lectured for some time at the Obafemi Awolowo University at Ife.
In Nigeria? Okay.
In Nigeria.
Right.
Then I did my national service at the Ahmadu Bello University, Kano campus. And then I taught for some time at the university. I was a research associate at the University of Zimbabwe, at the University of Witwatersrand in South Africa. And I've lectured at King's since 1991.
Wow. Talking of Kings, you are the first black male to be promoted to a professor at King's College since 1829. That's a great achievement. I'd like to say congratulations for that.
Thank you very much. But I need to say that I did not actually go out to make history, quote and unquote. No, definitely not. It was just a string of coincidences that just came together to result into that. Yes, I was promoted professor, backdated to 2014, and I must say that this is a distinction I shared with a colleague of mine, Professor Abiodun Alao. I mean, the two of us were promoted at the same time.
Amazing. So we also have a black female professor.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Awesome
Wow.
stuff. Wow. So just tell us, how were you able to stay focused and what lessons did you give us along the way, being able to still aim at being a professor despite it being delayed?
I think the first thing I have to say is my background gave me a considerable advantage as far as education is concerned. My parents were school teachers. My father was a primary school headmaster, and as of the time of my birth, my mother was also a school teacher. So all along I grew in the midst of books.
That's right.
And so that I must say gave me a take-off advantage, and that's an advantage I did not have by merit. Let me say that. I mean, it was just a biological coincidence that my parents were school teachers, and I grew up in the midst of books. But as for challenges, definitely there are bound to be challenges along the line. But by and large, I think God has seen me through, and I've also been, I must also say that I've undoubtedly been headed by extraordinary fortune, and for this I thank God.
That's good. You must have been surrounded around positive people, the family, to keep pushing on with your aim to...
Without doubt. As I said, my father was a school teacher. My mother died when I was young. Maybe I was just about 5. But that did not have any serious impact on the children, because we have a father that was extremely dedicated to his children.
Wow, that's good.
So we did not really feel that impact. So the most important role model I've had in my life was my father. And I know most people will say the same thing about their fathers too, so I can perfectly understand that. But my father has been a very positive impact on me. He had integrity. I always say that if I have all over my body the amount of integrity he had just on one finger, I think things would have been so fantastic for me. So my father was there, and I've also been privileged, really, to be taught by extremely wonderful teachers.
Oh, that's good. That's important.
Extremely wonderful teachers. Apart from my primary and secondary school, I got to the University of Ibadan, and University of Ibadan gave me the quality education that I could get from any first-class university in the world.
That's right.
And I was also privileged to have been taught by contemporary geniuses of the time, the people like Professor Abiodun Alao and quite a number of other people.
Wow.
So yes, I have been fortunate to have first had a very fantastic father, and secondly to have been taught by some
people,
fantastic human beings.
Wow.
And another professor I have to mention really is, the late Professor Olajide Aliko, who was Africa's first professor of international relations, who taught me at Ife. He was just a fantastic influence on me.
So, Professor Abiodun, please just tell us, for our viewers, what it is to be a professor.
That's a very interesting question. Professor is the peak that you can get to in academics. After that, there's nothing again.
Wow.
So really, there's really nothing to become again after you become a professor. So that is it. It's just an indication that a particular institution has recognized your contribution to scholarship, and to that institution has to confer on you that profession, that title, which is the peak in the chosen career. So that is really what it is to become a professor. Now, to become a black professor at King's.
Yes, that's very significant.
Well, yes, that is significant. And I must say that, as I said, it wasn't really something that I started going in for. It was just something that that happened. Well, of course, I had wanted to be a professor ever since my days as a young primary school student. I believe I would have achieved my life ambition the day I become a professor. I actually thought it would be at the University of Ibadan.
So you knew from a young age that you want to be a professor?
Yes. I'd never wavered on that position. It was a lifelong ambition. So as I said, I thought it would be at the University of Ibadan, which was the only university I knew then. In my infant days. Well, but God thought it would be in a different university. So yes, I've always wanted to be a professor, and along that line, I was actually encouraged by my parents, especially my father. And as I said, being someone in education himself, he really encouraged us. So much so that of the four children, of the four sons the man had, 3 are professors.
Wow.
My younger brother is a professor of medicine. My elder brother is a professor of counseling. So really, it's a family that's...
and you're a professor in...
I'm a professor of African Studies at King's.
African. And that takes you to quite a few countries, doesn't it? How many countries would you say you've been to?
That's a very interesting question. Without that, I would say nothing less than 70.
70 countries?
Definitely nothing less. Because there are 54 countries in Africa. And I think there's only 5 that I've not been to. So that already puts the number at 49.
Wow.
Or thereabouts. So... Well, yes, I think at the last count when my children did the counting, looking through my passports, I think we were able to record about 70.
Well, thank you so much, Professor, for that wonderful, wonderful interview.
Thank you very much.
And giving us insight into what it means to be a professor.
Oh, thanks.
Well, there we have it. My first guest was Professor Abiodun Alao, who is a professor of African Studies at King's College. Wow, what a wonderful achievement. The first black male since 1829. You heard his brief summary of his story. Without a mother, his mother passed away at a young age, he was still able to achieve what he desired to do in life. And I'd like to encourage us, and I do hope you've drawn inspiration from his story that just stay focused. He knew from a young age he wanted to be a professor. And I'm sure he had so many challenges along the way, yet he kept pushing forward. I do hope that you will press forward with your desires and draw inspiration that it's not over until you get to where you're going. Until next time, stay motivated.